Right, let's see if we can. Yeah, cool. Alright, if you look on the stream now, well, 2 minutes from now when the delay passes, you should be able to see we've got a new UI piece, guys, that's rolling out. That actually will give you a little bit of background on these two players. So, Tano, obviously it's up on stream now for those watching, but do you want to just quickly go through these two players? Because obviously they've been around quite some time now.
Oh, certainly. On the one hand, we have Jibs, as I frequently say about him in the videos. Jibs, creator of the game, woot to Jibs, awesome man. I believe he won the last monthly tournament in dominating fashion. I think he only dropped one map to Gam.
Yep.
He's just a very, very solid player, scouts all the time, sees everything all the time, always seems to punish the slightest inconsistency, and always seems to be the guy who just really knows when to vary between building macro or going for the gut. On the other side, we have Veni. I believe I covered him in a recent episode of Welcome to Little Wargame. He's one of the people who very early on started doing timing attacks and finding very unique points of weakness. His micro is also pretty good, but it has to be because he usually goes for Rifleman Catapult. I don't actually know how he managed to get what knocked him out in the last month's tournament, but I
I can
remember
check that.
playing him then and playing him before.
Uh,
Who was
let
it?
let me just check it. I can go find it for you.
Oh, okay. But I remember, and he's consistently proven himself to be a very, very skilled player. And I just like the way he plays. I think it's really interesting. So I think we're in for a real treat with this game, with this series.
Yep. So what took Vinny out last tournament was he played his first game, 2-0'd me in fact, to get to the round of 8, and then he basically didn't play any of the rest of his matches, which is why he dropped out.
Now, this is actually interesting because this means that we don't know really what comparison we have for skill between these two players. I mean, we know that Jibs won the tournament, but Veni was a non-participant, so it doesn't. It kind of leaves in the dark how skilled he is relative to Jibs.
Yeah,
That's something I'd be interested in seeing myself.
he seemed to be a pretty strong player though, so it should be some quite exciting games if all goes to plan. And we've got the map pull back now from Vinny. Okay, looks like we're going to have Lava Bridge, King Sejon Station, and Steps of War. Just waiting for the order pick.
Interesting and unique compilation of maps. I mean, if you look at Lava Bridge, there's a lot of open spaces, not many choke points. Things like soldiers and dragons tend to do well on that. You look at Steps of War, it's a very short, narrow map. We saw how Veni masterfully used his rifleman catapult against Shadow in the last couple rounds of the tournament to take him out, and it seemed very, very powerful there. And oh no, let me join, please.
Yeah, let me
I
just
don't
sort that.
ask for much. And King's Song Station is another map that really hasn't been figured out, I think, as best as it could. I mean, it's kind of unorthodox. We've seen dragons on it. And in practice games with Veni, we actually, when dragons came out, did a lot of work on King's Song Station. So I'm very, very interested in seeing what games come out of that map, since it's a bit of an unknown.
Yeah. I think it's quite a nice map, obviously based off the StarCraft 2 one, but we've not really seen many games on it yet. It's not been figured out. Obviously, Crossfire is quite similar in inspiration, um, but we're yet to see. Uh, yeah, we're yet to see actually some fully. Lava Bridge has got a lot more meta sort of decided about it, whereas we've got quite a nice map pool at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see how some of these more unusual maps actually get played out. Just waiting on JBS at the moment in chat. He's just sorting some stuff, and then we'll get straight into this game. I'm actually just going to double check that UI is working. Yep, UI is working on stream. Cool. Got 7 people watching at the moment, which is nice.
Hello, 7 people. We just want you to know that you are the reason Little War Game is alive and well. Y'all are awesome. And of course, all the players, too.
Alright, JBS is already up. I'm just going to check on Veni. And then we will be going straight into this. Do you want to just briefly talk about what you expect from Veni? Because he's got a pretty standard build, actually.
Oh yes, whether he goes for a 6 expand or whether he goes for a 1 Rax expand, he tends to emphasize rifleman. So I would not be surprised though on a map this very large for him to do what we saw him do in previous tournament rounds and go for a 6 expand. But I certainly would not expect him to do anything cheesy like 2 barracks proxy or anything out of the way. I think in this case, for both players, you want to play a standard straight up game and figure out what you have to do to get ahead from there.
Alright, we're just going into the game now. In the top right hand corner, we have last month's champion. Only dropped one map even in the entire tournament, and looking to do it again with $100 on the line for the whole tournament this time around. It's JBS in the top right. Down the bottom left, do you want to introduce our blue player?
Certainly, known for his timing attacks and his amazing control with rifleman and catapult, always seeming to find a way to make things work in the instant you don't want him to be there. On the bottom left-hand side, we have our blue player, Veni.
Veni actually starting off with an early house actually in the left-hand side. It's looks like it's time for a 1 rack to expand rather than the fastest soldier build. But that's interesting. And Veni sending out quick scout here, or possibly even just to expand. So, do you want to just guide us quickly to the... Sorry, just go ahead.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Alright, do you want to just guide us very quickly to the difference between the build Veni's done here, this quick barracks build, and the difference between fastest soldier?
Certainly, certainly. What Veni did right here is he built a house at about 27 seconds. That means he'll be able to build a barracks at about 1:03 to 1:06, and he'll be able to send out a unit. It'll be in Jib's base around 2:45 to try and apply some early pressure. Now, Veni could have done a variant where he drops the house immediately, and if he did that, he'd be able to get 1 extra worker, and then he would be able to get his barracks roughly 20 or so seconds earlier than if he had gone for this variant. Since he's doing that, he's going to get there a little later, but he's going to have a little bit more gold at around the 4:35 minute mark.
Alright, and we're seeing Veni's racks go off in his choke point right now. Players complaining a little bit of lag, so hopefully that resolves itself pretty quickly, while JBS is going for a 6 expand build here, and his scout was about halfway across the map. Alright, so JBS
Jib's talking about... Yeah, JBS or Jibs was just talking about how he's trying to get around the more common lag complaints. Hopefully it's not too bad. He says, Veni's saying it's at least fair. But that just speaks really massively to Jibs. He's always just looking not only as a player, but also as the developer of the game to make things just better for all involved. Kappa. So what do you think, if you're Jibs, what do you do if you see Veni has this 1 barracks expand? Do you panic? Do you really change what you want to do here?
Well, there's a couple of quick options you can do. He only sees 1 barracks at the moment, not 2. So he can quite easily just throw down a tower in the front. Or if he wants to play a little bit more conservatively with his gold, what he might choose to do is in fact throw down a house and just use a worker or 2 to sort of push it away. But it'll depend on which units that Veni is coming out with here.
Now this is interesting because Veni, if we look at the units tab, he already has his riflemen out and about. And if you check the rally on his barracks, he's actually sending it past where Jibs is building his watchtower. His target is actually the main base. So I think he's trying to get as much delay in Jibs' mining time as possible to disrupt the advantage in gold you get from this 6 expand.
Alright, interesting maneuvers here from Veni, if I just highlight it on the screen here. Veni's actually sneaking around the side, which not only will allow him to scout the 3rd faster, but the biggest thing is he's going to try and... Oh, he's turning back. But he was going to try and move past the worker scout, because he knows JBS loves sort of these quick early worker scouts. And Tau nearly finished up here for JBS. And Veni's worker scout getting pushed out here. He's actually choosing to stay inside the base, so the tower will take him down.
That's ac that's actually a very, very wise move by Veni. Although he might lose this worker, you generally around 3 minutes or so, you put down your tech choice for what you're going to do. So Veni knows if he stays in this base, he's going to at least have an inkling of what's going on in Jibs' mind, or at least his base.
Yeah, and JBS managing to have a little bit more micro on top of Veni there. Not quite sort of abusing the mechanics as fully as he can, but he is going to get this worker shortly. And we'll see JBS sending a worker scout down here to see what he can find, but 3 riflemen is going to make it really hard and he's going to push him away. There we go,
I'd be
rifleman
surprised if Jibs is. Yeah, I'd be surprised if he actually. Oh no, is he actually going to get this scout? This is actually fantastic news if you're Jibs. Because if, up until this point, if you had not seen or known for a fact there's an expansion, there very easily could have been another barracks going down and perhaps a more aggressive strategy coming out of Veni. And Jibs is saying, you know what? I recognize that there's nothing going on, no shenanigans at my possible third base, so I can just continue on with my plan.
Yep, and looks like Veni's going to be going for a barracks pretty shortly off the back of this, about 250, nearly 300 gold at the moment. And he does have a house down, so it's not like he's looking to tech for another base. He is scouting around a bit with a worker here, but Veni's got 4 riflemen here and coming up with a worker, so looks like Veni's going to put on some serious aggression.
I agree. I think this tower placement is good from Jibs, but if you take a look and you look at mined gold, you'll see that despite going for the more economic 6 expand, Jibs actually is only about 100 gold ahead of Veni, and I think that really puts a testament to the amount of work that Veni put in his scouting worker and forcing Jibs to deal with it. I'd be surprised though what Veni is going to do to answer this this forge attack, seeing as it looks like Jibs always favors his upgrades, and I just wonder if he'll be able to pierce through this watchtower and the accompanying workers, or see what his response is.
Now, interestingly here, looks like someone's been watching some games by you, Atano, because this is going to be a proxy catapult coming in behind some early riflemen. He knows he can't breach this tower with riflemen alone, but how do you think this is going to play out? Do you think it's worth it to get it quite so close?
I think actually it definitely is worth it. If you look over at Jibs' base, of course Veni doesn't know this, but there's a forge and 2 barracks. 1 barracks isn't even done, it's only halfway done. And while I would love to take credit for this, I think this is totally on Veni's side. His originality and ingenuity. Putting this workshop very close means the catapult, the slowest unit of the game, isn't going to feel the drag of taking 45 seconds to get across the map. And if you look, Jibs is building a rifleman out of this. Without a critical mass of upgraded soldiers, I don't know how he's going to break this contain. I wouldn't be surprised if Veni says, okay, I see your contain, and I raise you a third base.
Yeah, this game, for anyone who's not been following it for a while, a lot of this game is based around map control and scouting. A lot of games you see, maybe like StarCraft, require a lot of speed from the players, and that's good as well. But Little War Game requires very sort of well thought out plans and to make sure you have everything covered, because you can't afford to make mistakes against a player like JBS or Veni.
Definitely, definitely. Jibs is actually doing something really interesting here. Whereas most forges we see people go for 2 forges so they can crank out double upgrades, Jibs seems to recognize that he's in a containment scenario, and because of the little poke that was sent in by these riflemen. And if I'm Jibs, I would just sit behind and wait for my +1 armor to come out. He has 3 soldiers coming in. Once +1 armor comes out, no matter how good Veni's catapult micro is, and how good any obstructing buildings are that Veni puts, he's going to be very hard pressed to deal with soldiers who will effectively have 2 armor against unupgraded riflemen.
Alright, tower going down here at the front by Veni. I'm assuming it's not going to be able to hit his opponent's tower, because otherwise his opponent's tower would hit him first. But it is going to give him a bit of a wall off against these soldiers. What do you think about his decision? I mean, he got a contain, he forced out towers from Jibs there. But what do you think about the decision to stick around this long, as opposed to, say, maybe taking a quick third off the back of this?
I think I'm undecided actually.